So the first thing that happens when you get hooked up with a lender is they are going to look at 3 things: your credit score, your income, and your debt. Ooh, it's so windy right now. But it's like beautiful out. I don't understand. Anyway. What's up, everybody? I decided that I was going to start a new series here on YouTube and also transition it over to a podcast, because I'm in a situation, and a lot of my friends are in the same situation, where we as millennials are just now realizing the importance of home ownership. I have a confession to make. I'm a real estate agent, and I do not own my own house. A little bit of backstory. Up until the Panini Press of 2020, I was an actor in New York City, and I was blindly focused on that goal of achieving Broadway, of getting on a television show, filming movies. 100% I was geared towards acting. Now in New York City, because I had that specific goal, I was only renting, and really I was making below what I should have been making at the time, purely so that I could have a flexible job, to be able to go to auditions, to be able to leave a shift at work in order to go and film things and be able to come back and still have a job. My brain was not focused on home ownership at all, 0% of it. And 100% of the people around me were exactly the same. We were all stuck in the hustle mentality to make our dreams come true, and not necessarily thinking about ways to make money work for us. And so when I transitioned, funny story, I was supposed to be taking my real estate test in New York City the day that we shut down in 2020. But even that real estate market is mostly geared towards renters. It wasn't until I decided that I was going to be staying in Colorado and that I was going to be pursuing real estate as a pivot career that I kind of realized what I had been missing in the home ownership game. And so I'm about to finish up my first year of real estate, and I have helped 6 people find their home, their new home. And out of those 6, 4 of them were first-time home buyers. And I found that the biggest thing is that people don't know where to start. So that's part of what this new series is going to be about: how to get started in pursuing home ownership, because it is not something that is going to happen just like that. It's going to take, honestly, probably about 2 years from the point of this video until you actually get a home, if you're starting where I'm starting, where my goal with home ownership is that I am wanting to be purchasing my first house in 2023. And it's 2021 now, and partially why I have to wait so long is the financial aspect of home ownership. So that's where I want to start today, is what is truly the first step in buying your first home? And the answer is getting your finances in order. I know everyone has seen that SNL skit with like the late night Zillow searching. We've all been there. I still do it. I'm supposed to hate Zillow, but I freaking love Zillow when it comes to just looking at property. And people think that the first step is figuring out what you like in a house. The first step is to get together with a lender who you trust and who you can ask questions of, and who is geared towards first home owners, because it just takes a little bit more of hand-holding, and there's nothing to be ashamed of that. We all learned the Pythagorean theorem in school, and not how to build wealth through real estate. So don't be ashamed that you have questions that you need to ask. Ask them. And if you are with a lender that you don't feel comfortable with, you are allowed to go and find another one. So, it's windy out. So step number 1 is to get together with a lender that you feel comfortable with. If you're in Colorado, I have some list of recommended lenders that I really like to work with. If you're not in Colorado, I have a lot of other agents in other cities who will also have a list of recommended lenders that they can kind of point you in the right direction with. So the first thing that happens when you get hooked up with a lender is they are going to look at 3 things: your credit score, your income, and your debt. Ooh, it's so windy right now. But it's like beautiful out. I don't understand. Anyway, they're gonna look at those 3 things. And I get a lot of questions from first-time home buyers of, well, what does my credit score need to be at? If you can get to a 620, that is awesome. You are well on your way to getting qualified. Of course, anything higher is going to be great as well. The higher the credit score, the lower the interest rate. That's just kind of how it works. But 620 is a good starting point. So if you're below that, your first step is to work on that credit score. Pay down what you can in your credit cards in order to get that score niched up a little bit. The second thing that a lender is going to look at is your income. One of the reasons that I'm in the position that I'm in is because, like a lot of people, I was unemployed pretty much the whole year of the year that must not be named. That shows a gap in employment that freaks lenders out. If you have that year of just like, I'm unemployed, you're kind of starting at the beginning here, because lenders don't want to lend to somebody who is unreliable, and having a year of unemployment makes you seem unreliable. So don't get freaked out. If you got laid off in 2020, welcome to the club, same. You just are 2 years behind. Lenders want to see 2 years of work experience within the same industry or at the same job. So I come from the performing background, and a lot of my performer friends were also waiters. If you are thinking about buying a house in the next 2 years, you're gonna want to stay in that same industry. So if you're a waiter, you can 100% go and try to get that promotion to be the manager. But I would not go from being a waiter to finance. That's going to restart your 2-year clock. Yeah, finance is awesome, but you're going to have 2 more years now because you jumped industries. Waitressing, the customer service, is not the same industry as finance. So you want to stay within the same industry. And then the third thing that the lender is going to look at is your debt. You might hear DTI thrown around a lot. That means debt to income. Lenders want to see 41% or less of your debt to income. How do you get your DTI? You want to take your monthly expenses that are on credit, divide them by your monthly income. That will give you your ratio percentage of what your DTI is. Try really hard to get that under 41%. It doesn't mean that if you are at 45% that you're not going to qualify for a loan, but that golden number is 41% or lower. I've had a lot of lenders lately say that they really like 36%. So take a look at what your debt to income is and figure out what that ratio is. Ooh, okay, hopefully, I just realized my microphone wasn't plugged in, so hopefully that whole first half was fine. After the lenders check your credit, your income, and your debt, you are going to have to go through the tedious task of getting all of the documentation in. This is working you towards that pre-approval letter that all real estate agents are requiring people to have now. The way that the market is, you have to have that pre-approval letter before you even go home shopping because houses are going so fast still. There is a little bit of a change in the market right now where it's stabilizing a bit, at least in Colorado, where homes are now no longer going in 2 days. I've seen a week or two. But even then, if you're not pre-approved and you find your dream house, it's probably going to take you longer than a week to get pre-approved. And sellers are not going to accept offers from buyers who have not been vetted. They're not going to accept something that is not telling them that those buyers can actually buy a house. There's too much competition with buyers. So that's why I'm also saying start your home buying process with a lender. So when you're starting to think about home ownership and you start moving towards that point of, I think I'm starting to get ready to talk to a lender and stuff, really take a look at your personal finances as well. I can only say save, 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 save. Now, part of the saving is that you're going to need a down payment, you're going to need an earnest money deposit, and you're going to need closing costs. And that's not even taking into account the money that I would personally recommend you having, because you are going to be your own landlord now once you own your own home. So if the water heater goes out, if the AC unit goes out, you're the one that's going to be responsible for fixing those things, and you got to have money in the bank to fix them. So if you're in the same process that I am right now, I am 100% focused on saving. Now, this is where Dave Ramsey and I do not agree. So pick your poison, I guess. Dave wants people to buy homes 100% in cash. I just don't agree with that. That might have been possible in the 70s, but it is just not possible for the average person right now to buy a home 100% in cash, 100% down. And to me, you're missing out on those equity building years by renting and paying somebody else's mortgage and helping somebody else create equity in their home while you're trying to save. So ultimately, my advice for that is to not be honest with what you need in a home and don't blow out your budget. Do you need 20% down? 100%, no, you do not. None of the homes that I have sold this year had anyone giving 20% down. I had someone giving 3% down because they were in a conventional loan. I had a 3.5% downer because they were in an FHA loan. And then I had somebody who was buying an investment property at 10% down. Nobody was in the 20% down. So get it out of your brain that you need 20% down in order to buy a house. You can buy, I just said, with as low as 3% down. If you're a veteran or if you're trying to move to a rural area, you can buy with 0% down. Which if you qualify for those programs with 0% down, take them. There's also down payment assistant programs. And once you get together with a lender that you like and trust, you can chat with them about what kind of programs you qualify for and if those are going to be the right step for you. But don't think that you need 20% down in order to buy a home. That being said, if you don't put 20% down, you are going to have to pay PMI, or private mortgage insurance. This tends to be like $70 to $80 extra a month, and it's to protect the lender. It has nothing to do with you. They don't care about you in this moment. The PMI is to protect the lender and that they have some insurance if you were to stop paying your mortgage. So take that into account with your savings and things. The higher your down payment, the lower your PMI is going to be. If you end up in an FHA loan, it's going to be a mortgage insurance premium. With PMI, you're able to refinance or pay that down, and you can stop paying your PMI once your loan reaches 80% in loan to value. FHAs, now you kind of have to pay your MIP throughout the entire loan time frame. I'll do another video later kind of going through the difference between conventional and FHA and VA and USDA loans. I would say right now in this market, if you can qualify for a conventional loan, that's the one you're going to take. But that's a video for a different story, a different day. So we're talking your down payment. You're gonna need to put some earnest money down when you find a home that you love. In Colorado, we have minimum earnest money that people are recommending for you to give within your offer to the sellers. That earnest money will eventually go towards your down payment situation. I recommend saving anywhere between 1% and 3%. So let's say you want a $300,000 house. 300,000 times 0.01. it's going to be $3,000, obviously, that you need in cash because you're going to write a check to the title company that they will hold. Like, they're not going to go out to Target and spend it. They're going to hold it until closing day. But you need to be liquid enough to have that $3,000. Once you figure out your down payment and your estimated earnest money, you then have your estimated closing costs, which can be between 3 and 5% of the purchase price. So going back to your $300,000 house, let's do it at 4%. That's going to be $12,000 for your closing costs. Closing costs include things like the appraisal that you have to get. If you're getting a loan, your lender is going to require an appraiser to come out and determine the value of that home, because your loan is based on what the appraiser says it is, not based on what you want it to be. I'll do another video with the importance of appraisals. You have your inspection that you need to take care of. You have your title insurance. You have your homeowner's insurance. There's a bunch of other loan origination fees, processing fees, things like that, that you are going to have to pay on the closing day. There are ways to lower your closing costs. In normal markets, I would say that your real estate agent would be able to negotiate seller concessions that could go towards your closing costs. In Colorado, that is not something we are even considering. Sellers are not paying closing costs at all right now. So make sure you chat with your real estate agent and see what they say about things like that. Another way to kind of get some of those closing costs down is the title company. Again, in Colorado right now, sellers are choosing the title company. Depending on what market you're in, you may be able to kind of negotiate with the seller that you can choose a title company, and then you'll be able to shop it around. With your homeowner's insurance, which you absolutely need, your lender is going to require you to get that. I would 100% recommend shopping that around as well. Don't necessarily go to the same company that is doing your car or any other kind of insurance that you have, expecting them to bundle it into a great deal. Most of the time, those interest rates suck. So I would say try some of the smaller guys. They tend to have better interest rates, at least right now in 2021. So to wrap things up for this first, where do I kind of start video, I want to talk about the documents that your lender is going to kind of require you to have. They're going to require you to have these documents. Number one is to keep all of your W-2s from the last 2 years and your tax returns. Again, that goes back to that whole employment history thing and having that gap. They want to see that you're in the same industry, that you're reliable, that your income is generating more money and you're not taking any pay cuts, things like that. You're also going to want to keep your last 30 days of pay stubs so that they can see exactly how much tax is coming out, and all of the information that they need to see is going to be on those pay stubs from the last 30 days. You're also going to need 2 full bank statements. Not like transactions. They're going to want to see your statements. Part of this reason is because they want to make sure that there's no dirty money coming into your account. So for all my drug dealers out there, I'm sorry. It's going to be hard to qualify for a loan because, and this kind of applies to my performer friends as well, with dumping all of your tips from waiting into your account, or having huge sums of money that just kind of show up in your account from babysitting or any of those other weird side jobs that we all have done. That is not a consistent deposit strategy, and your lender is just automatically going to think that it's dirty money, and they just don't want to lend to somebody who has a dirty money history. So if you are a cash-based person, try really hard to keep all of your documentation, invoices, things like that, to when you make your deposits, so that there is documents that the lender can go back and see what exactly you're putting into your account. Also, and I know this applies to me too, where it's really hard to keep consistent deposits because I only get paid when stuff closes now. When I was babysitting a lot, I only got paid when they had a date night. So it's hard to keep consistent payments. but you could try to keep stuff on like an every 2-week basis where you're depositing a similar amount of money every 2 weeks to kind of show that consistency. This was a little bit of a rambly video, but I hope that you found it kind of helpful of where exactly to start. The number one thing is to get your finances in order. If you're a couple years away from buying a home, that's okay. Just keep saving as much as you can. I think that's my number one tip. Save as much as you can. If you're curious to see if you're close to qualifying for a loan, go talk to a lender about getting a pre-approval or a pre-qualifying letter and let them chat with you more. My area of expertise is not finance, so they're gonna have more information for you than I do right now. Just know that it's okay that it's gonna take a year or two to start saving enough money. A lot of us are only making minimum wage, and part of why I wanted to start this video was to get everyone out of the cycle of I'm making minimum wage so I can pay my rent, so a landlord can make a mortgage payment and gain even more wealth. I want us to start making our own wealth. So part of that is buying your own home. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm definitely going to keep making some more videos, and I'll try not to ramble as much as I keep going. Leave your comments and questions below. I'll be happy to answer anything. If you have specific questions, feel free to email me at homeagain@jessicadorsey.com, and I will be happy to answer any questions you have. If you're in Colorado, I can absolutely help you out. If you're in a different city, just let me know, and I can make sure that you meet the people who can help you as well. All right, guys, have a good day.